Hi everyone, it's Mike from Inflatable Boarder, and today I'll be reviewing the HD Aero by Bote Paddleboards. The Bote HD Aero is a fishing-focused and large, all-around inflatable stand-up paddleboard. It has some unique built-in features on the board itself, and it's compatible with many optional accessories. It's got great stability and good speed to help get you and your equipment to your favorite fishing hole with ease. Bote has two types of construction for their inflatable paddleboards: their lighter weight Aero Ultra construction and their more durable and rigid Aero Bote construction. The HD Aero uses the Aero Bote construction, which starts with a knitted drop stitch core on the interior of the board and has a dual layer fusion PVC shell. To join the deck and hull of the board, Bote uses a heat pressed seam. This process uses a heat activated glue for a better bond between the different layers. Around the outside of the board, Bote adds a second layer of PVC for additional durability and rigidity. Once the board is assembled, it does have a final weight of around 30 pounds, which is a little bit heavy compared to other fishing-centric paddleboards of the same size and shape. Bote lists the HD Aero as having a maximum inflation pressure of just 15 psi. When we put the HD Aero through our bend test with 170 pounds of weight in the standing area, we found that it deflected about 1.44 inches, or just over our total running average of about 1.56 inches of over 100 paddleboards we've tested. On the water, the HD Aero exhibited basically no flex while standing on the board and paddling normally. While sprinting during our speed test, I did notice a small amount of flex in the board, and while jumping on it, it did produce a moderate amount of flex. Once the board began to settle down, it did have a tight and kind of springy feeling rebound, and that did make it a little bit less comfortable than some other boards that have a much smoother and relaxed rebound. The HD Aero is a large paddleboard meant to be used as a fishing platform. It's 11.5 feet long, 34 inches wide, and 6 inches thick. It has a maximum recommended capacity of 315 pounds. It weighs 30 pounds on its own, however with the complete kit, it does weigh 48 pounds, so it is fairly heavy when moving it around from place to place. That large size, paired with a very wide shape with a wide nose and wide tail, and parallel midsection, make the HD Aero extremely stable. I didn't notice any twitching or rolling while standing or paddling on the HD Aero, and as I moved around and changed position, I felt that it was very consistently stable as I moved forward and backward on the board. When tilting the HD up onto its edge, it held very well, and while rocking it back and forth, it was very comfortable and stable without feeling like it was bouncy or corky. The large deck pad does stretch through the tail end of the board and makes it easy to step back and use the tail to help maneuver the board, or if you need to adjust your position to accommodate equipment or passengers. For such a large board, the HD Aero does have some moderate speed, but it can feel a little bit sluggish from time to time. In our speed test, I was able to sustain an average sprinting speed of about 5.0 miles per hour, but I was able to hit a peak speed of 5.7 miles per hour, which is extremely good for a board of this size. Now, it is not sustainable to stay at that peak speed, but it is nice to know that it can get up and go when you want it to. There was some flex in the board while sprinting, and the paddle itself is fairly soft, so it is harder to maintain these higher speeds for more than just a few strokes. When bringing things back down to a more casual pace and paddling at a rate of around 25 strokes per minute, which is a nice sustainable speed for a long distance, the Bote HD Aero does move along at about 3.3 miles per hour. That is fairly average for a board of this length and compares well to other fishing-focused paddleboards. While at this more relaxed pace, I found the HD Aero moves about 19.5 feet per stroke before it begins to slow down, which gives it a gliding ratio of about 1.7 board lengths per stroke. Again, we see this is pretty typical for a board of this length and does again compare well with other fishing paddleboards. While the Bote HD can put out a little bit of speed when you want it to, it's definitely more comfortable and more enjoyable to paddle it at this more relaxed pace. The Bote HD Aero has a well-balanced but moderate maneuverability and tracking performance. It has a single slide-in fin box and comes with a large surface area bin. There are also 2 fixed side bite fins on the board. However, these fins don't actually add to the performance, they're simply there for aesthetics. In our forward sweep stress test, the HD Aero was able to make a 360-degree turn from a standstill with just 8.5 forward sweep strokes on average. When we back that up and do that with reverse sweep strokes, the HD completes the same task in about half the amount of time with just 4 paddle strokes. To really swing things around quickly, you can step back to the tail of the board, and the wide parallel shape of the HD keeps it very stable and consistent as you move back, lift the nose, and spin the board around with just a few paddle strokes. Similar to its maneuverability performance, the HD Aero also did fairly well in our tracking test. In our 10-stroke tracking test, the HD Aero deviated an average of just 16 degrees off course after 10 paddle strokes on a single side. This is fairly good for an all-around inflatable stand-up paddleboard, especially one that's so wide, and it is in line with other fishing-related SUPs that we've tested. It's easy to steer the Bote HD wherever you want, whether that is making a sharper turn up to about 90 degrees or making small changes to your course as you're paddling a longer distance. While the HD Aero does balance its maneuverability and tracking performance well with this center fin, Bote's choice of using a slide-in fin box does limit your options for changing that to adjust your performance to either have better tracking performance, better maneuverability, or paddling in shallower water. Additionally, the use of the slide-in fin box does bring up concerns for usability and durability for me. I've seen this type of fin box used on several other paddleboards as well as several of Bote's paddleboards, and often they do run into issues if they're not treated very carefully while you're rolling the board. You can actually fold the fin box and deform it. The opening of the fin box can be deformed if it's stepped on while the board is unrolled, and it can also be very difficult to get these fins installed and removed. In fact, I frequently have to use a hammer to install and remove the fins from all of the Bote and other boards I have that use this slide-in fin box. Bote has designed the HD Aero to make it possible to bring everything you could possibly need with you while you're out fishing on the water. To begin with, there's ample cargo area with a large cargo bungee on the nose of the board and a medium one on the tail. There are 17 D-rings on the Bote HD Aero, and the middle D-rings are compatible with Bote's kayak seat and shoulder straps. There are dedicated cooler tie-downs just behind the standing area, and there are slide-in foot mounts for the Bote tackle rack or bucket rack. At the nose of the board, we also have 4 attachment points for the bolt-on paddle sheath. The paddle sheath holds your paddle while you're fishing. However, I personally don't care for how it holds it, as it does hold it very close to your face and body while you're trying to move around. Just in front of the standing area, Bote has included their MagnaPod insert that allows you to magnetically attach compatible accessories like tumblers and speakers. There are 3 carrying handles on the HD Aero, one in the center, one at the nose, and one at the tail, making it easy for you to transport the board by yourself when it's empty or with a partner when it's fully loaded. There is no leash D-ring on the tail of the HD Aero, and Bote does not include a leash with it either. Now, when we asked Bote about this, their spokesperson told us that it was for paddler choice to allow people to choose what leash they want to use. However, to also not include the D-ring for the leash seems to be more of a bit of a failure on Bote's part, in my opinion, as a leash is a critical piece of safety equipment when you're on the water. The HD Aero does come as a mostly complete kit. Along with the board, you get a single chamber hand pump, the tackle rack mounting feet, the paddle sheath, a repair kit, and a fiberglass and ABS plastic paddle. You also get a large bag to hold everything in, made from a heavy-duty vinyl material. However, the bag does not have wheels, and at a complete kit weight of 48 pounds, this is a large, heavy paddleboard kit to move around. The HD Aero comes with Bote's Axe fiberglass paddle, has a fiberglass shaft, fiberglass handle section, and plastic palm grip. It has a height scale printed on the handle section, but it doesn't have any indexing, so every time you adjust the length of the paddle, you will need to ensure that it's properly aligned with the paddle blade. The paddle blade is fairly large and is made with an ABS plastic for durability. The large blade and the fiberglass shaft together do make this a fairly heavy paddle at 31 ounces. It has a comfortable amount of flex in it for casual paddling, but if you are going to be paddling long distances, you will eventually want to get a lighter paddle, as this one does get a little tiring to use and it's a little bit paddle heavy. Overall, the Bote HD Aero is an extremely stable paddleboard that's designed to be a fishing platform, but it can work well for other paddlers who want either extra stability or plan to do a lot of paddling with a passenger or pet. It does have a good balance between maneuverability and tracking performance, and it's also very beginner friendly. In addition to the Bote HD kit, you will need to purchase your own leash. Now, we do have some information about different types of leashes and which leashes to get depending on where and how you're paddling at the link in our description below. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I've answered all of your questions about the Bote HD Aero inflatable paddleboard. If I did miss something or you do have other questions, please let us know in the comments. In the video description, you can find a link to our full written review, as well as reviews for dozens of other paddleboards. If you've liked this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe so that you can stay up to date on all of our latest video content. And if you are interested in purchasing the Bote HD Aero, we'd really appreciate it if you'd use the link in our video description. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does help support our YouTube channel and bring you other reviews and SUP related content. Thanks for watching, don't forget your PFD, and happy paddling!